And did you plan on getting to me down below? I got a bunch of stuff below, Shirley, sewer, and business pilot, that kind of stuff. I don't care about the order, just as long as we get there.
Anyone else? Okay, moving on. Town attorney.
Yes, I've given everybody a hard copy of the pilot allocation agreement. As you will recall, I previously provided everybody with a copy several months ago. I believe in May.
We just put in our mailbox upstairs just now. That wasn't today, that was not there.
Well, I finished it about 12:30 or
Okay,
1
that's
o'clock.
fine.
It's the same agreement that I gave you in May. Paul, I know, had some corrections and changes which we made. We provided it to you by email in May, asked for any criticisms, changes. I got Paul's, I reviewed them, we made those changes. We subsequently provided you with all of the exhibits, I believe, in June. We provided everything to the school board's attorney. I gave you a copy of his email, or you should have a copy of his email that came in signing off on the agreement. I would like a resolution authorizing Pat to execute the agreement so that we can move forward with this, so that the school board can then present it to the board of legislators. Yeah, here it is.
Does that include last year's $66,000?
I happen to have an extra one. It's an 8-year payoff, and it actually ends up being less than we had anticipated. The initial payments were $93,009.99. So I'm looking for a resolution so that we can go forward with this.
Well, I'll move it so we can get it into discussion.
Second?
How much?
Rich, seconded it.
How much should we pay in interest on this so far? You made 2 payments so far?
I don't know. I know we made one payment of about $9,000 last year, and I don't know if the current payment came up interest. If it was, because we rolled the ban over in July, so I'm not even sure.
That's why the figure is less than $600,000.
No, he's talking about interest, not principal.
No, but I know, but that's, you paid down the principal as well.
Yeah. Paid down from, wait a minute, we have already paid down principal?
Yeah.
I thought we just made interest payments. I thought we made 2 interest payments. So
Because the money has been collected by various entities, it was suggested from our fiscal people to pay down something on that ban before we roll it over to the bond, so that we stay in line with the debt schedule.
So you made an interest payment, and you paid, and you reduced principal, and you don't know what that amount was.
Well, you can see it.
Well, you can subtract that 500 something from the 600,000.
and shows right there.
But I don't walk around with figures in my head then.
That's why it's an 8-year payoff.
And you're going to put the next coming budget, you're going to put the bond payment for this, and you're going to anticipate the revenue from the pilot agreement?
Yeah, it's going to be an offset.
Okay. And
What happens is, this is a 100% tax situation. Each entity issues pilot invoices. The pilot invoices are paid to the IDA and then come back to us first to pay our debt service dollar for dollar, and any surplus gets allocated proportionately between the municipalities.
Does that surplus increase as you move down?
Yeah, and it's an 8-year payout, so after the 8 years, you
So
get
what
all
happened
your
with
tax
Hampton
out.
in this year? They pay school tax.
School tax was put in escrow according to the school's attorney. The money that was paid for school tax is in an escrow account.
And where is the county and the town share?
We have ours
It's in our bank
They
account. Where
have-
the county is, I don't know.
I don't know about the county,
Yes,
but I'm sure they.
Dave Gordon.
So you have issued a tax bill, you have sent them a letter
And that's been
It's a
paid.
pilot.
with a
It's not a
pilot.
tax bill.
I know, but you send them out a lot of pilot tax bills, and you have issued the Hampton in a tax bill, and they have paid it.
Yes.
Okay, that's very good. Now, the other thing is that what happens if you anticipate the revenue for this next year's budget in their pilot, and for some reason, one of the taxing authorities does not agree and we do not have a pilot agreement? where's the
Well-
money gonna come from?
Well, let's
Is that
back
payment?
up a
When the
minute, Don,
first-
because first of all, you do have a pilot. Okay? The pilot is in place, been in place for a number of years. Okay?
September
What we
of
don't have,
2011.
what we don't have is the allocation, which basically says where this excess goes to and the et cetera, et cetera. That's what this is about. And that's why the wording came back and forth, when that debt service gets paid off. When it doesn't, as you may recall, Don, when, 3 years ago, we had a problem because of the wording of the one with the Hartford. In that, because that dealt with when the payments got paid, when the money came in. That's why the wording and why everybody was looking at this allocation agreement so clearly, okay? But right now, you've got pilots that have been built, pilots that have been collected in relation to this agreement, okay? Now, you're saying if they don't turn it over, well, I think you got a legal problem because they build them under an agreement and now they're not willing to go through with it. Now, I'm not an attorney, but, you know, you can't go say, I agree to it, collect the money, and then say, oh, by the way, I'm not going to pay it.
Right, they've had the pilot since September of 2011. All this agreement does is take the money that's received under the pilot, pay us for our debt service, and then divide it up. That's all that the agreement does.
And it
In the
sounds
first,
wonderful, Herb.
Can I finish?
Sure.
okay, in the first pilot agreement that was done for the 2.3 million or whatever, there is an acknowledgement in that agreement that subsequently everybody would be entering into a pilot allocation agreement for this as well. So, I mean, I don't know what to tell you, other than this is the agreement that was drafted by the school's attorneys. The county has indicated to me that they're on board, and each of the entities wants to go forward with it. That's why I'm hoping you'll pass a resolution, authorize Pat to sign it. The school has asked me to get them a hard copy signed by Pat so that they can present it.
Okay, now I'll move to the meat of the matter. You're anticipating revenue from this pilot to make next year's payment. If that in fact doesn't happen, as it hasn't happened for the last 26 months, since July 11, when you announced to the board you're invoking the 2008 resolution to spend the $600,000, call me leery or suspicious, but over 2 years has passed, we still don't have the pilot, and now you're anticipating that the money is going to be there, that it's going to be turned over.
Well, the school already has their money in escrow.
That's right, and when I
And
talked
I'm
about...
assuming the county has it too.
When I talked to Bob Knoll before the school board election, he said, we're just waiting for the election to go through, then don't worry about it. That was May.
Right.
That's month 5. This is September, month 9.
Don,
We still don't have an agreement.
That's exactly what they told me. They said, we'll present it after the election. We don't want to present it before the election. I presented everything to you folks. You wanted the updated figures. This came from the sale of the bonds in July, which we've given to everybody. We've circulated everything. Nobody's called with any changes, criticism, corrections. This is the hard copy. We've got to go forward with this. We can't just keep going back and...
Oh, I'm not going to vote against it.
Okay.
My caveat is this. If in fact, by the time you present your budget, and we come to adopt it in November, after we work on it, that in fact we don't have a signed pilot allocation agreement among the 3 taxing authorities, this councilman, this lame duck, 3-month councilman will not vote for that budget without that pilot allocation secured before the budget vote. And I urge my colleagues on the board to adopt the same position.
Can we act on this?
Sure.
any other dis...
Yeah, I just got one question. Does the dates that are in here, did these change to reflect the new?
Yes.
Okay, because I know we changed some of the dates, okay.
Any other...
Yeah, show me where the surplus is identified. Is it Exhibit 4?
The payments start at 93,099, and then they would go up after. But if you see this date, that's the payment. Principal and interest right there. So you're gonna have
So the difference
93.
between 93 and
Yeah,
75.
that'll be the-
No, okay, fine, thank you.
Any other questions?
there's no chance that the county school will not send it.
The school drew the agreement. I mean, they acknowledged in the first agreement that they would enter into it. They passed a resolution to go ahead with it. And their attorney drew the majority of that agreement, so we made the changes that we made in May.
So that's the question.
That's my answer.
Any other questions? Motion, we've got a motion, we've got a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, unanimous?
Now, if you can get me that resolution, I have to send that to the school attorney with a copy of the agreement, and hopefully Pat will sign it.
Do you have a copy of those figures?
Yeah, I can give you that.
You want to send this one?
Yeah.
In my email.
I got white out.
Good
The next
job,
thing is,
Counselor.